you broke into medical device sales as a full line sales rep with one of the largest medical device companies at 6 figures.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
One person believing in you can change your life. I don't care what anyone says. That's first and foremost. If you can set expectations early on this stuff and hold yourself accountable to it, you won't fail. I don't know if people are going to fully understand what it takes to invest in yourself because it is very difficult. It's a hard truth, but the only person to blame if you don't get where you want to be is yourself. And that's tough. Why are you really doing it? Is it just for a dollar sign? Because if that's your motivator, it's not going to pan out. There's other jobs you can go get that pay well. You get into this to help people if you put in the work. For me personally, I was like, I don't know where the missing link is. There's people that have got these jobs with less experience than me. There's people that don't even have their college degree yet, and they're getting in. And for me, that was why I saw a couple of your posts. I read a couple testimonials, and I was like, it can't hurt.
29 years old. No experience in the medical device sales space. You just joined our program and broke into medical device sales as a full line sales rep in 5 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Nick, welcome to the podcast.
I appreciate it, Jacob. I'm going to be here.
It's going to be a fun one today, man, because seeing how fast you changed your life and seeing where you're at today, then when I got on the first call with you, is a lot of fun. But before we go into all of that for everybody today to watch, who is Nick?
Yeah. So born and raised in Orlando, Florida, played football, athletics my entire life. I had some injuries, so I wanted to potentially go physical therapy route. Ended up going to Ohio on a football scholarship, played a year of football, came back home, graduated from UCF with exercise science. And then from there, I spent about 7 or 8 years in the strength conditioning world, where I ended up specializing pretty heavily with your post-op return to play. So I was doing a lot of the rehab protocols, and I fell in love with it. And so landed 2 or 3 jobs through that. And ultimately, the big thing was you were in the space, so you understand. You're working 5 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Friday, Saturdays, 9 to 1, and you're not making too much. You do it because you love it. You do it because you love to help people. And my whole goal was I want to build a family. I want to be able to provide for them financially. I want to have kids. That was everything I wanted. And I knew I needed to make a change. I just didn't know where the heck that change was going to come from. So I ended up being lucky enough to, one of the clients I trained at my other gym was pretty high up in this company that I started with at Health Track. Basically, he just said, hey, I think you'd be good at this. I can get you a first interview. From there, you're on your own. So ended up going through about a 3-4 month interview process, moved out to Central Illinois, packed my car with a couple blankets, a TV, and my PlayStation, and drove out 16 hours, landed there, and that's what launched the start of my sales career.
And one thing I want to touch on is because we come from the strength and conditioning world, that's why I just want to say if you have that background, you make great candidates because you know how to hustle. The grind, like what they'll always tell you is like, hey, these could be long days. It could be 12 hours. And you're like, I do that every day already, right? So that's easy. The one thing I will just say, because hopefully this can hit home for some people, is the one thing I always found interesting about the strength and conditioning world is they love to brag about how many hours they worked and how little of money they made. And I just remember being like one time having someone be like, yeah, I work 100 hours. I haven't missed a day in this many times. And then they bragged about how they can barely take a vacation. And I was just like, that's a weird thing to brag about. It's like, I remember one strength coach telling me he worked full time, and this was at the NAIA company or NAIA college I was at. He's like, yeah, I broke down my hours, and the people at McDonald's make more than me. And I was like, yeah, I don't know if that's a great thing. And at that time, that person was in their 30s. They couldn't just go take a vacation. They were living with roommates. And again, I just say this, do your thing. Like go live your best life. If that's what you love, awesome. But to your point, for me and the people we work with, a lot of times it's like, hey, I might want to have a family. Might be able to buy a house or buy a car. I might want to go back to Orlando and afford being able to go to Disney World, right? Just those conversations, which a lot of times, if you're in that profession, again, I'm not hating on it because I know a lot of great human beings in that profession. It's just a lot of times that profession is not one that, like, again, where you're starting out in med device sales is where most of those guys hit their peak in the strength and conditioning world, even working with professional athletes in the W-2 side of like not running your own gym, right? So I think there's that piece. But for you, I guess, when did you start thinking, because you're 29 years old, where you were like, hey, I'm doing strength and conditioning. You loved it, right? You're doing the post-op, but you're like, I want to have a family. I want to have kids, all that stuff. When did that start really coming in?
I think that started probably around 24, 25.
Yep.
And it was just because me and my boss didn't have the most amazing working relationship. It was one that we respected the heck out of each other. But the way he communicated, the way I communicated, we didn't always see eye to eye on a lot of things. Love him to death. Great dude. Just, we didn't mesh.
Yeah.
And that was okay. We agreed to part ways. And from there, I moved back home. And I spent about 3 or 4 months at home till I landed the job. Hightailed it out of there.
Yeah. After helping thousands of people break into medical device sales, we've received a lot of messages of asking for more personalized coaching and mentorship. Our average member breaks in at around 9.5 weeks at over $113,000. And if you're really interested and really motivated to break into medical device sales, you can click the link below or check out our website at newtomedicaldevicesales.com. See all the testimonial videos of people breaking in with Medtronic at over $170,000, at Abbott $175,000 as a full line rep. So if you're really excited and also motivated and wanting personalized coaching and mentorship, then go and click the link below, schedule a call, and we'll get you where you want to go. Enjoy the rest of the episode. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I want everyone to hear that, right? Like you can have, like we just had this conversation with somebody else who they're like, I'm best friends with this person, but working with them, horrible.
Yep.
Don't like them. But as a friend, great human being, right? So it's funny that it's okay to like have not the best thing and find something new for yourself. But for you being like, let's move out to where I don't know anyone, right? You packed up your car.
Yeah.
Tell me about that one.
Yeah. Ended up going through a pretty rough breakup. Had a lot of things kind of fall through for me all at the same time. So I was at probably one of the lowest points of my life. And the only way that it was a fight or flight thing, right? It was, do I stay in Orlando and keep fighting, or do I try to start over? Do I try to rebuild who Nick is? Do I take everything I've learned from those losses and help it elevate me in my career and my life moving forward? And I took that route. I didn't want to feel pigeonholed around the same people. I didn't want to be stuck. I didn't want to go downtown and see 50 people I went to high school with. It kind of gets you in a loop that you're just like, I need to break this loop. I don't know how I'm going to do it. But for me, it was moving to Central Illinois. So completely different landscape, completely different people, very different weather. Only got stuck twice in a roadside ditch my first winter. So I'm proud of that.
That's pretty proud.
But yeah, that was the main driving factor, because for me, I needed the change. And the only one that was going to force it to happen was me at that time. And so I did it. Yeah.
And I guess what was one of the biggest things you learned about yourself when you made that jump?
The biggest thing for me was you can't do it alone. 110%, you cannot do life alone. And I don't care how strong you think you are. I don't care how independent you think you are. If you are not surrounded with good people that are going to elevate you, you're not going to go anywhere. You're just not. And so for me, the way I built my community was I came back to Christ. And so I found a really great church. Ended up, I do youth leadership there now, so I'm super invested. I work with a bunch of high school senior boys, so you can only imagine how fun that is.
Lots of conversations, lots of testosterone, lots of stuff going on, man.
I'm getting calls at 9 o'clock like, hey, I think I just made my girlfriend mad. And I'm like, oh boy. So I got 5 minutes. I'll help you the best I can. But it's great. Like being able to give back from the mistakes I've made in my past, right? That's why we do what we do. We want to help. We want to give back. And so now I've built a giant church community. My wife and I met. She's also from Florida. She ended up in the middle of nowhere, Illinois as well. And we ended up meeting, got married, and we got a little girl on the way. So we are so pumped. And yeah, this couldn't have happened at a better time for us.
Yeah, and I'm really pumped to talk about that because, you know, getting on a call with you and your wife, right, and being able to have that conversation it's fun to see, like what we said, where you're at and how you're going to change your whole life for you and your family, right? But let's talk about what got you interested in med device sales.
Yeah. So med device, coming from my background, I knew that I had strong anatomical fluency, which is something you can teach, just like anything else. You can learn it. But for me personally, I went to health track, had a very quick ramp, got promoted in 10 months, and I knew there was more. I wanted to get into that space because it aligned with my background. Just being able to at least see things and be like, hey, I can piece this puzzle together. I know where we're at. I know where we're working. I know how that needs to function. So that was really big for me. Number two, I was already in healthcare sales, just with diagnostics. And for me, again, going back to my background, I was on the other side of this operating table. I was operating after these surgeons did. And so I was the one rebuilding that protocol, making sure they can go back to their sport. But seeing what these surgeons do and how they function and the things they're able to do for people is amazing. And for me, I wanted to be a part of that. I genuinely was so interested in it, and it's so cool, and I love it. Like, you very rarely get to say you love what you do for work. And for me, being in the OR now, seeing things, it is amazing. It is genuinely amazing to see how these people operate. The teams are awesome. If you've never been in an OR, it is not what you think, I promise. It is so much fun. And I love it. I love everything about it.
Yeah, and it depends on what division. I always say this because some will play some funny music, some will play AC/DC while they're getting ready to operate. It might be going on while they're operating, right? So there's a lot of fun that comes into it. But for you, I guess one question I would love to ask is, what made you get on a call with a random man on the internet about getting help for medical device sales?
It goes back to, you can't do this alone. And you can try. And I think anybody that was in my shoes, I took a deep dive at myself because I was going for this position for about 7 months. And for me personally, I was like, I don't know where the missing link is. I know there's people that have got these jobs with less experience than me. There's people that have just a college degree. There's people that don't even have their college degree yet, and they're getting in. There's people that haven't done any sort of sales, and there's people that don't have any idea how a human body works. And I was like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Because I cannot figure this out. And for me, that was why I saw a couple of your posts. I read a couple testimonials, and I was like, it can't hurt. Like, the worst that can happen from a conversation is we go, hey, we can agree to disagree, and we can move our separate ways. Mm-hmm. That is the worst thing that could have happened. And talking to you very quickly, I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. It's not just one of these random schemes you see all over LinkedIn now and stuff. And so that was big for me. And being able to have a video conversation with you was huge. I think a lot of people want to just hop on the phone. A lot of people just want to message back and forth. Being able to put a name to a face and have a real conversation was massive. And then, hey, Jacob, I need to talk to my wife about this. Okay, great. What's she doing later today? She'll be home at 3. I'll be free at 3. Okay. And then that was big for me because talking about my why, talking about wanting to build my family, wanting to make sure they're taken care of financially was big. And I think if you're a married man, you are the leader of your household. You are always thought of as the provider. But no strong man does not have a very strong woman behind them. And so she is extremely good with discerning people. And I even told you that. I was like, I need to get her in on this. And 10 minutes in, she goes, yeah, cool. Go for it. And that was all she wrote.
Yeah. And I really love just that you were open to it because, again, the one thing that I always hope everyone just knows is we want you guys to feel heard and seen. And just to your point, right? Worst case scenario, it's not a fit. And for us, we're like, again, very straight shooters, as you'll probably learn as you watch this. If you guys are watching this for the first time, we don't sugarcoat many things because, again, why waste time when we cannot waste time, right? And just be direct. And for you, one thing that really came out, though, is you got the opportunity with a full line sales rep. And what we were really talking about is like, hey, if we're not winning associate rep roles, we need to step up the game just to get those, but we need to step up the game a whole lot
Yeah.
to get the full line sales rep role that will get you well over six figures, get you the opportunity that you and your family are looking for. And again, the one thing I will say is you had a lot of great motivation because you got a baby girl on the way. So I don't have to put the motivation behind you, but it was like, hey, let's not let this opportunity that you just found out about go to the wayside. Let's actually make sure that we go prep you. And I'll just never forget the text message I got from you from being in the program one day. And you're like, this saved me in so many different ways because we got you prepped for that first call with them. And let's talk about that now, because you were in multiple different processes we started having you have conversations with. But for that one, that was for the full line rep role. Talk to me about what that process was like for you, especially with someone who doesn't have the background and you don't have 2 or 3 years med device sales experience.
Yeah. For me, the biggest thing that I took from the conversations and the program itself was how to effectively communicate who I am and align my experience with how it's actually going to play into this role. I think a lot of people are very quick to tell their story. Great. You told me about yourself. Doesn't tell me you can do the job. And that, I think, was the biggest thing. It also instilled a lot of confidence in me to speak to it and be like, you know what? No, I am the person for this. Where a lot of the times, I think when you're interviewing for these positions, you go in timid because you know how much competition's out there. You know how many people are gunning for this same position you're going for. And so you're already thinking in your head, how do I stack up against these unknown people? And you set yourself up for failure before you ever go into it. And so for me, it was, I don't care who's interviewing. I don't. How can I be the best Nick? How can I show them I'm the best fit for this job and go get it? And that's what everything helped me do through all the prep.
Yeah, and I think one thing to think about for everyone is, like you said, many people are fear-based. And again, we talk with so many people who are like, what if, and they go negative.
Yep.
Right? But we're a big focus on what if it goes right, but also what if you already know what to do? You just go put in the work and then you have the confidence because of the work you've just put in. It doesn't matter if you go up against someone with 7 years experience. You're still going to go be just as competitive, if not more competitive. Right? And that's what you were able to show, especially like I told you when we were on the call, I was never worried about those positions because it's like, I already know the background you have. Also, you put in a wife who you'd love to have not work and stay home with your child. I don't got to do any more motivation. I just got to give you the roadmap. We got to talk to you and we got to be able to help you just to go get the position.
Absolutely.
And you did that in such a good way. But talk to me more about a little bit of doing the job to get the job. Because we talk about this all the time, but especially what I want everyone to hear is when you're going for a full line sales rep, you can say you have some sales experience. Even with that, that doesn't matter.
Nope.
Because again, you're now beating out people when you're going for big top companies for full line reps. You're going up against other people who already work at med device companies. So you're not just going up against someone who's working at ADP, Centos, Enterprise, or a clinical background. You're going up against someone who works at Medtronic, at a J&J or somewhere else that already has 1, 2, 3 years experience.
Yeah.
And they're wanting to work at these companies. So talk about how you're able to show that by not having the med device experience for the full line rep role.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was not being afraid to put yourself out there and, again, ask for help. Like, my biggest thing, I can give credit to a lot of people on this whole thing, but the conversations that I was able to have with people and ask them high-level questions, not you're just, hey, how you doing? Thanks for jumping on a call with me. It's, no, I've done my homework. I spent probably, this is not an exaggeration, 1 to 2 hours prepping for phone calls because I wanted to make sure they knew I was serious because people talk. And I wasn't going to ask the same basic questions that everyone's going to ask. I need to know the nitty gritty. I need to know, hey, if I'm stepping into this territory, you're now in this company for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. How would you approach this? You know what you know now. You didn't know what you did then. If you're stepping into this position that I understand now, what are you going to do? How are you going to make that work? Obviously, you can't just copy and paste something because no two people work the same. But you get 5, 10, 15 people that you're talking to, and you're able to then cross your notes over, put it to something that you've done previously and go, I think I'd work best that way. That's how I'm going to approach it. That's what makes sense to me. That's what makes sense with my personality. And that's how I did it. It was not being afraid to talk to people.
And also being prepared. And that's the big piece,
prepared.
overly prepared, right? Because just for anyone that's watching this, that's the piece that we watch people miss all the time. Oh, someone called me and I just looked them up. And then you're asking the same question to one person at Medtronic that you've had already 4 other conversations in the same division. You shouldn't be having those same conversations. You should be compounding. It should be growing. And then again, are you impressing them enough? And I want this to be heard for everyone. If you're getting on 10, 20, 30, 50 plus calls and then it doesn't turn into anything, what I always hear is, well, the conversations are going great. And I have to be like, well, maybe for you, but maybe not for the other people. Because again, if someone's going to go put their stamp of approval on Nick, they have to know Nick's going to be an absolute stud and make them look really good because their name is everything. Because if they go put you up and then you get blown off, that manager is never going to consider people that they're sending that way because they'll be like, that's just a waste of my time. And so that's what people really need to understand is it's not only just being able to talk to people because you're good, you're really educated, but it's also being able to do your pre-work and be able to bring that knowledge across and then compound those conversations. Because again, when we talk about getting people hired at 6 figures at a full line rep with no experience, you have to be seen as a peer-to-peer, right? You can't look at the new guy who's like, so what do you do? What's your products? Who's your competitor? That can't happen, right? That can happen for a $60,000 associate job where you just have to run trays. That's fine. But that can't happen when you're the one also going to be having a quota. You have to go talk to the surgeons. You have to close the deals. And you also have to learn the procedures and be able to be the rep in the room.
Yeah, and I think another big piece to add to that is when we get on those calls, I was guilty of it initially, but I caught myself. You're talking to a human. That is another person on the other side of that phone. Talk to them like they're a human. Don't just ask them questions. Hey, thanks, bye. Like, build a relationship with them. That is what this job is. It's building relationships, making sure people trust you and they're confident in you. If you can't do that just on a call with someone that you're just having a conversation with, you're not going to be able to do that with a surgeon. You're not going to be able to do that with a circulating nurse. You're not going to be able to do that throughout the facilities you're going into. So if they don't like you, come on.
Yep. And let's talk about this. You got hired at a large company at a full line rep, 6 figures. That's notoriously known for having a long interview process. Mm-hmm. And I want everyone to hear this because I've had people when we say, hey, we got someone hired there in 4 weeks, they're like, it takes 2 months just to get this piece of the process done, right? Talk to me. Why do you think you were able to get hired with that company in 5 weeks instead of taking the 3 to 6 plus months that a lot of times those companies take?
Yeah, number one, right place, right time. And not everyone's going to have that opportunity. Just to be very transparent. For me, it was where I needed to be, and that's where the position needed filled. I was going to make sure I was that guy. But also, it was the relentless preparation. And I don't think people fully grasp what that looks like because it is using every resource you have. It is sending the stupidest things into any AI generator. It is going to the website. It's pulling info from the website, lining it up with this, but also knowing the territory. How can I piece all that together to where it genuinely makes sense? Who are the surgeons that are in this territory? What do they do? What do they see? Am I looking that up? Have I looked at cases where they're using those products? Do I even know any of the products? And again, this comes from talking to everybody. It's piecing together a puzzle that you genuinely have no idea what you're stepping into. So you better figure it out. And if you can figure it out, you're going to show them that you can do this job before, again, you're doing the job.
Yep. And that's what we always talk about, do the job to get the job, because once you're in the job, you actually have to go do it and show them. But again, if you've never been in the industry and then they all want you to have experience, you're going to have to show them why they should trust you, right? And again, to anybody who's out there that says, oh, I promise, talk is cheap. Nobody cares about what you say because every day managers and reps get told, I'll follow up. I'm going to break in this industry. The amount of times I've been told, well, I'll break in and I'm going to be a President Club winner. I can guarantee you I can count those people when I've had hundreds to thousands of those calls. I can count them on under one hand, right? And so it's like you have to make sure that you're the person putting in the time, doing the preparation. But like you mentioned, most people don't understand what the preparation even looks like, right? It's kind of like the professional athletes. They think, oh, they were just God gifted and they got it. They don't see the 4, 5, 6 hour workouts every day for years. And then the recovery, right? That's the piece they miss. And so then they see, oh, well, somebody else is in this and they make 60K, but even this is the piece I want to encourage everyone. Even if they got in at 60K or they break into med device sales because they knew somebody, which the whole know you somebody is very minimal. But if they know somebody they got it, they're not going to be good. No. They're not going to be able to understand how to progress. They're not going to be able to understand how to build a career. And that's the biggest thing that I just want everyone to understand is for like you, how you're able to break in 5 weeks is because A, you absorbed it, you took the coaching, and you ran like crazy because you have a family coming and all the stuff you're getting prepped. But also that's your personality. But number 2 is because we looked at this as your career. Because everything is a building block for you in your future. Because Nick's not going to just do this for a year. Nick's doing this for a career to build a family in, to build his career in, to be able to progress, to be able to get new skill sets. And it's only going to continue to go. And I think that's what people really need to look at instead of so many times, especially my younger individuals, they're just like, I just want a job. And you can't look at this career because again, if you're under the age of 25, especially, you're going up against 29, 31, 33 people who are married, who have kids, just from an emotional standpoint and like maturity standpoint, they'll choose them over you all day. So what else are you doing to bring to the table?
I think another piece that I want to add to the preparation is you always hear that I don't have enough time. I worked 2 jobs while I was prepping. I got about 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night. I needed to do that in order to be prepared. Was I probably overly prepared? Yeah, you could argue that. But I wanted this job. I knew I was the best fit for this job, and I needed to prove it. So you're going to put your time and invest your time into what matters to you, and you'll find out quick if this matters to you or not.
And this is the personal trainer, strength and conditioning. It's not if you're going to work out, it's when you're going to work out.
Yep.
You make the time, right? And to this point, for you, why I smile and I'm so excited for you is you did that for 5 weeks. But because of the 5-week sacrifice, your whole life is now forever changed. And most people can't make that trade-off. They're like, oh, it's going to take more than a couple weeks, but then they go live in misery for years. Compared to, hey, if I just do what's hard, because it's both hard, whatever it is, right? Hard of not getting the jobs, not getting in, continuing to get rejection letters, or not know what you're doing, or make the money you want, or the hard of, hey, committing and doing that aspect. They're both hard. But let me ask you this for you. We got on a call. Mm-hmm. Now you're able to see the value, right, that we provide. But what was the initial piece that said, okay, I'm going to make the jump. I'm going to invest in my future. It's not $4. I'm going to invest in my future to make sure that I can go and grow in as a human being.
I think the biggest thing for me was, one, you believed in me. And a lot of people don't have that. And so one person believing in you can change your life. I don't care what anyone says. That's first and foremost. But also, I had the support of my wife. I had to have a conversation with her when we jumped off that call. It was, hey, we need to both get on the same page of what these next couple weeks are going to look like, what this next month, 2, 3 months are going to look like. I might not be as available. I might be a little checked out. I might be dead tired. But on the days that I am, remind yourself why I'm doing this. It's not for me. It's not just for you. It's for us. It is for the future we want to build. It's to be able to be in a position to give back to our church. It is all of those things. And if you can set expectations early on this stuff and hold yourself accountable to it, you won't fail. Mm-mm. You won't.
And it's the best because, again, I just share this again. Please believe what you want to believe. But it's fun to be able to have like other people who believe in faith and like come in here and we just get we get to work with great human beings who then are now in as full line reps and going to go make a difference. But also because of this, your wife's not going to have to go back to work.
No.
Your wife's going to be able to stay home with your newborn child. Those are memories you can never get back. You're also going to be able to have the earning potential that allows you to provide the life that you guys are looking for. Also, when you get settled and we continue to help you, but like you get to that piece where eventually you'll have a good work-life balance, right? And you'll understand what that looks like. You just change your life forever.
Yeah.
And like you said, you had the talk with your wife, hey, it could take 2-3 months. The best part is 5 weeks later, just over a month, you're now a full line rep at one of the largest medical device companies in the world, making over 6 figures.
What is the average time
The average time,
for the program for someone to break in?
9.5 weeks at this moment.
What did I tell you on the call?
You're going to beat that.
Yeah. I think believing in yourself is a big piece too. I really do.
Yep. And that's the part, just so we're clear, that's why I love having driven individuals that we work with, right? That's in our mission statement. We help driven individuals break into medical device sales to make a positive impact on others. It's that piece, right? If I have to get on you to go change your life, that's the problem. It's a relationship on both ends. When you guys bet on us, we're betting on you as well. Because it's, again, this isn't pay us, you do nothing, and we just do all the work. It's you're going to have to do it. But to your point, that was the thing that I saw in you is I'm not going to have to be on Nick a million times. He's going to do it. I just need to be able to. He's the Mustang. I just need to maybe pull him back a little bit and put him in a little steering where he needs to go the right way.
Yeah.
And because of that, you got the ROI. You got where you want to be. You're now with one of the largest med device companies. And like we said, this is just the beginning. But to somebody who's watching this, right, whether they have a strength and conditioning background, exercise science, we get a lot of those just like myself, or they just don't have the experience, but they're trying to break into medical device sales. What's your advice to them?
My advice would be, number one, don't limit yourself. The truth you tell yourself when you look in the mirror in the morning is the truth you're going to see every day through the rest of your life. If you wake up and say, oh, today's going to suck. I don't even know what I'm doing. I invested in this, but I don't know if it's the right move. Cut that out. Positive self-talk is massive. And this is coming from someone who is super dark humor, super sarcastic. I get in trouble with it all the time, specifically with my wife. But this is someone that hasn't always had the best outlook on themselves. And so a lot of us are in those deep pits right now because you can't get into this without, in my opinion, probably facing a very emotional dip. And if you were lucky to never face that, go you. But it's not like that for the majority of people. And so, again, who's your community? Who's going to pick you up when you're in those dips? Number one. Number two, what are you telling yourself when you wake up every day? Number three, why are you really doing this? Is it just for a dollar sign? Because if that's your motivator, it's not going to pan out. It just won't. There's other jobs you can go get that pay well. You get into this to help people. You get into this to secure financial stability the rest of your life if you put in the work. And it's continuous. But know your why, know what you're up against, and if you don't believe in yourself, you're not going to make it. That would be my big things.
I love that. And that's the biggest thing is, just so we're clear, I do also want to put out there, there's a lot of people we meet who do believe in themselves, but sometimes they believe in themselves a little too much. Mm-hmm. And then I talk to them as they've been trying for 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And then my favorite, I actually just had a conversation today. Well, I just need an opportunity. I'm like, didn't you just tell me you lost 4 interview processes? Well, yeah, but I just need someone to respond back to my emails. And I was like, well, they already have, and you already lost. And so this whole, well, yeah, but I believe in myself because I'll go. I just share this to everyone for, you need to believe in yourself, but you also need to know the right things to do.
Yeah,
and
realistic.
You need to be, hey, what you were able to do, most people will never be able to do, is sit yourself down and say, hey, where am I losing out? Where are the pieces? And just so we're all clear, that's what coaching and mentorship is all about. You may not be able to see it for yourself. And sometimes you have to, again, being the personal trainer. The amount of times we say squat, chest up, hips back, weight on your heels, right? And they're like, I'm doing it. And they're on their toes and their knees are way past. And they're like, my knees hurt. And it's like, well, you think you're doing it. You're doing the effort, but the actual form is not correct. And because of that, you're not going to get the reward. You're actually hurting your knees more than you're actually growing your glutes, right? Or whatever side you're doing and where your stance is. But with all of that aspect is, make sure, like you said, is when you want this, really want it and burn the boats. And that's what you did. And that's why, again, I use you all the time when I'm talking to people is how does someone get hired at one of the largest medical device companies in the world as a full line rep at over 6 figures right away? When we got on the call and then like that, hey, I need to talk to my wife, but you got on, it was burn the boats. We're not guessing anymore. And then again, the beautiful part of this is you never came and pushed back on me. You didn't say, Jacob, you literally just said, tell me what to do. And then I said, yeah, just do A, B, C, D. And then you just went and executed. And then I would just get the fun text messages being like, I crushed it. We did it. We're going on to the next one. And then you kept doing it. And then again, you sped up a process that even though it's the right place, right time, again, if they don't have 100% confident, that can get drug out as well. And because you did that, you were able to go. But now it's fun for me to say 5 weeks later, you broke your, 5 weeks later, you broke into medical device sales as a full line sales rep with one of the largest medical device companies in 6 figures. When you got that offer, how did you feel?
It was the most overwhelming amount of weight lifted off my shoulders because I know what I just did. And I'm doing my best to hold back tears right now because you better believe once I got off that call and held it together, 15 minutes, full tears. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. Well, and I say that because it's why we also send you guys t-shirts, because no one else will understand how hard you just worked.
Yeah.
Nobody understands the late nights, the early mornings, the rejections, the roller coaster of emotions that you go through. And because of you just not giving up, you believing in yourself and then being around people who believe in you as well, you go make that happen. And now I get to sit here with a fantastic human being who now is going to be the father and the husband and the man that he's been wanting to be. His wife doesn't have to go back to work.
Yep.
You're now going to get set up before your daughter's here. And then you now will be in a career that you can grow within. And you get to go make an impact literally every single day.
Yeah.
And it was because of one decision to choose you and to grow. I just want to say congratulations, man.
Thank you. I don't know if people are going to fully understand what it takes to invest in yourself because it is very difficult. It is very difficult to invest in yourself because you don't get any more excuses. You have everything. You have the people. You have the resources. If you use them, you'll get there. But it's a hard truth, but the only person to blame if you don't get where you want to be is yourself. And that's tough. And I mean, I remember I jumped on the phone with you after something and we were talking and I was talking through stuff and you're just like, no, bad, wrong, no. And I was like, oh, okay. Those are the moments that are going to kind of trigger whether you're going to do this or you're not. Because it's, again, you're very cut and dry. It's, hey, I've done it. I know what it needs to look like. I know what this takes. This is not the right way to do it. I don't care what you think. I mean that as respectfully as possible, but I don't care what you think. That sounds great, but it's not real. It's not true. This is how it needs to look. This is how it has looked. This is how it will look. Mm-hmm. If you can't take constructive criticism, this ain't it.
Yeah, and just so we're clear, and why we do it that way is because if you can't take that criticism, you're going to be a horrible rep.
Yep.
You're not going to perform. You're going to have one doctor chew you out and you're just quit because it's too much, right? And also to your point, I get to sit here and smile because you did exactly what we said to a T, and look who's hired as a full line rep at 6 figures, right? But most people, like you said, aren't. And one thing I do want to just touch on this for people, most people love to play the victim. And what we talk about all the time is most people will live in chaos for the rest of their life. And what I mean by that, we see this, and I'm just going to call out the clinical world, especially like nurses. What nurses love to do is they love to get on calls or reach out to us, and they love to complain about their current situation. It doesn't have to be nurses, it can be everyone, but they complain about their current situation. And they say they don't like the money they make, they don't like the hours they work, they don't like where they're currently at, and they don't like it so much that they'll get on a call with a random stranger to talk about it. And then what happens is it says, do you like your reality? No. Do you want that to change? Yes. But then who doesn't know how to change the reality? That person, because otherwise they would have already usually done it. They need somebody outside to help them. But then what people do is then they self-sabotage, because here's the thing. They then bring in an emotional side, because we always say there's the difference between rich people, poor people. Poor people, they think emotionally, rich people think logically. When anybody who doesn't make a lot of money goes and talks money, they always go emotionally instead of logically. Like you and I, we had a logical conversation. If you don't think it makes sense, don't do it, right? But what most people do is then they'll go the emotional side. They'll go do research. And this is my thing. I just want to call someone out there. Some of you are like, I need to go check out 14 different programs that 17 of them don't even have testimonial videos. They don't have any proof, but I just saw because I need to, and it's like, okay, sounds good. But if we're actually having a logical conversation, right? Do you want to work with people who've done it before? Do you want to work with people who have had the results? All that aspect of it. But why I share that is because then what happens for these individuals is then they'll go through this, they'll complain about their life, complain about their situation, get a little emotional. Then when it's time to make a change, because it's scary, because you got to finally bet on you, because the only one you're going to be able to blame at the end of it is you. Because the first thing we say is we're not for the bottom 90, we're for the top 10, AKA top 10, no experience, full line rep, largest medical device company in the world. Top 10% if you look at the averages, right? That's who we focus on. And for us, it's when people come into our program, it's we've done this with thousands. It works. And if you're having problems, it's you. It's not us. Because we have built this to a system to its biggest self-reflection mirror to you. And again, the amount of calls we do, the amount of stuff we do to handhold people, right? The reason I share that for everyone to understand is then what happens is then these people, what they do, I need to think about it. I need to learn. I need to get more education. That is a decision, is because what people do is I want to gain information. When I gain the information, I'm going to take that information and then I'm going to go try to make a decision. But usually your decision making is not good. That's why you make $80,000 and working on a situation that you don't like. And then you're going to tell me because all the life choices you've made, you don't currently like. But then I'm supposed to sit there and act respectful and be like, oh yeah, you've made a lot of bad choices so far. And then you're going to go make an emotional decision to then stay stuck. So you don't change because you got the information, but you don't make the change. And then what you do is what? Go call another person to complain about, and go call, and then go talk about your coworkers, and then complain again and complain again. And why most people will never make 150, 200 grand, 300 grand go is they'd rather just stay complacent, complain to the same people over and over and over, or just out to all my very educated people, they always are doing research. But you would be better off to just, again, it's the strength and conditioning world. You can have the best program, but if you don't have the buy-in, no one's going to do it. But you'd be better off to have somebody who literally just does one exercise and goes as hard as they can on that one exercise to get a result than having the perfect program that they don't even give 100% to. Mm-hmm. And that's what people have to admit. And when we say this, sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, what's he talking about? It's just money. And what people don't understand is like what you just shared. This is so much more than the money. It's so much more than answering a question. It's about who's the person Nick has to become to go get a full line rep. Who does Nick have to become now that he's in the industry? Who does he have to become to go be a full line rep and actually perform in this industry? So you're about to start the new job, but you've already had some opportunity to go and do some experience of what that world's going to look like. What are you the most excited about?
This is going to sound a little crazy, but I'm most excited to be the rep that is so clinically knowledgeable and trusted that when something goes wrong in one of those cases, I can go, hey, doc, switch to XYZ. We'll do this. It'll fix itself. And it does, because I've seen it. And it is the coolest thing ever when a surgeon trusts their rep that much to let them help. Because I didn't just open something. I didn't just stand in a corner. I'm helping. And I'm making an impact.
You're providing value. And from your experience, right? We just had Jim Shuck on. He has 30 years experience in the industry. But that's what he said is they look at him as the team, but he knows because of his experience, he's making a better impact on that patient's life. And that's what you're about to do. And I just want you to know truly, Nick, from the bottom of my heart, man, I am beyond proud of you. I sit here and I think about the call. I remember it very well. And I remember being able to talk to you and then talk to your wife and saying, hey, it's a commitment. And you said, I'm going to do it quick and I'm going to give everything I got. And then not even 2 months later, under 2 months, we're sitting here. You're now with one of the largest companies, 6 figures, full line sales rep, which again, just so we're clear for everyone that is hearing this, it almost never happens to break into medical device sales with a top company as a full line sales rep. And you did it all before the age of 30. And you did it with 5 weeks inside the program. And I just want you to know, man, I'm beyond proud of you. And this is just the beginning, because I can't wait to watch you crush quota. I can't wait to watch you change your life, change your family's life, change people's lives in your church and outside of it, because I know you're a great man and you're going to make a big impact.
And that means the world to me. This is the kind of people you're investing in. This is the kind of people you're trusting. Just keep that in mind, because he's not just saying that for a camera.
Appreciate you, man. Congrats, dude.